A Brief History of the Empire, Part 3. The first volume of the series tells in brief the story of the succession of the first 8 emperors of the Septim dynasty from Tibur I to Kentir II. The second volume described the War of the Red Diamond and the 6 emperors that followed its aftermath, Uriel III to Cassander I. At the end of that volume, I described how the Emperor Cassander's half-brother Uriel IV assumed the throne of the Empire of Tamriel. It will be recalled that Uriel IV was not a septim by birth. His mother, though she reigned as empress for many years, was a dark elf married to a true septim emperor, Pelagius III. His father was Catariah I consort after Pelagius' death, and during her reign, a Breton emperor named Galavir Lariat. Before taking the throne of empire, Cassander I had ruled the kingdom of Wayrest, but poor health had forced him to retire. Cassander had no children, so he illegally adopted his half-brother Uriel and gave him the kingdom. 7 years later, Cassander inherited the empire at the death of his mother. 3 years after that, Uriel found himself the recipient of Cassander's inheritance once again. Uriel IV's reign was difficult and long one. Despite being a legally adopted member of the Septim family, and despite the Lariat family's high position, indeed they were distant cousins of the Septims, few of the Elder Council could be persuaded to accept him fully as a blood relation of Tibur. The council had assumed much responsibility during Catariah I's long reign and Cassander I's short reign, and a strong-willed alien monarch like Uriel IV found it impossible to hold their unswerving fealty. Time and again, the council and emperor were at odds, and time again, the council won the battles. Since the days of Pelagius II, the Elder Council had consisted of the wealthiest men and women in the empire, and the power they wielded was ultimate. The council's last victory over Uriel IV was posthumous. Andorak, Uriel IV's son, was disinherited by vote of council, and a cousin more closely related to the original septim line was proclaimed Sepphoris II in 3rd era 268. Sepphoris had been a Nordic king for the first 9 years of Sepphoris II's reign. Those loyal to Andorak battled the imperial forces. In an act that the sage Arentine calls Tibur's septim's heart beating no more, the council granted Andorak the high rock kingdom of Shornhelm to end the war. Andorak's descendants still rule that land. Of course, Sepphoris II had foes that demanded more of his attention than Andorak. From out of a nightmare, in words of Arentine, a man who called himself the Cameron usurper had led an army of Daedra and undead warriors on a rampage through the Valenwood, conquering kingdom after kingdom. None could resist his onslaughts, and as month turned into bloody month in the year 3rd era 249, fewer even tried. Sepphoris II sent more and more mercenaries into Hammerfell to stop the usurper's northward march, but they were bribed, turned into undead, or slaughtered. The story of the Cameron usurper does deserve a book of its own. I recommend the reader find Palu Ithri's The Fall of the Usurper for more detail. In short, the destruction of the forces of the usurper had little to do with efforts of the empire. The result was a grand regional victory and an increase in hostility toward the seemingly inefficacious empire. Uriel V turned opinion back toward the potential power of the empire. Turning the attention of Tamriel away from international strife, Uriel V embarked on a series of invasions beginning almost from the moment he took the throne in 3rd era 268. Uriel V conquered Rosgria in 271, Cathonque in 276, Inelsia in 279, and Esroniet in 284. In 3rd era 288, he embarked on his most ambitious enterprise, the invasion of the continent kingdom of Akavir. This was ultimately a failure, for 2 years later Uriel V was killed in Akavir on the battlefield of Lonith. Nevertheless, Uriel V holds a reputation second only to Tibur as the great warrior emperor of Tamriel. The last 4 emperors, beginning with Uriel V's infant sons, are described in the 4th and final volume of the series.